G'day, my name's Brett Hooker and my channel is I Love Dirt. And this video is about a new addition that I've added to my Snow Peak Hexatarp Pro to allow us to be able to have campfires and camp cooking and things like that when it's raining. Some of you know when I go camping it rains a lot, and I wanted to come up with a solution that would make it easier for us to still be able to do our outside cooking and work around all this rain. So I've used my Snow Peak Hexatarp before as just a general tarp and to allow us to get out of the rain and things like that. And then recently Snow Peak has released what they call an inner lining. So it's a Takibi Inner Lining for the Hexatarp Pro. So let me show you that and also talk a little bit about how I set up the Hexatarp to suit rainy weather. All right, so let's go take a look inside and have a look at the inner lining. So the tarp's been set up in the normal way, and the inner lining actually sits inside and acts as a protective barrier for the tarp. So let's take a look inside. We'll go around through the end and we'll take a look at what the inner lining looks like. So here we have it. It looks like a little miniature tarp in itself, and it's made out of a fire retardant and slash proof type material. It's something that Snow Peak's come up with for themselves, and it just forms a little diamond inside the tarp itself. So you can still see the tarp reaches out further than the lining, but the lining sits in this inner area here, and that's really important because you can position it over your fire pit. So nice rock fire pit here at the place that we're staying at. Got a fire ring there. We had it set up last night. It was raining last night, and we went ahead and set this up over it, and any little embers or whatever else that come up in here, any of the heat from the fire, just hits this inner lining and it protects the tarp. Now the way it installs is really simple. So I've got a clip that goes up to the top of the post at each end there. So you've got to drop your post down, clip your inner lining onto the top there, and the same at the other end. And then we come down to the middle point of the Hexatarp Pro, and same thing, it's got a little elastic bungee here, and a little hook on the end of that, and that actually clips into that part. So it just clips to those two center posts and your middle points of your tarp. So it's quite easy to install. So it clips in underneath the tarp nice and easily. You've got to make sure you've got the right tarp. So this is the Hexatarp Pro, and this is the Takibi Inner Lining for the Hexatarp Pro. Snow Peak actually sells a kit now that actually has a tarp and a lining all together as a kit as well, and you'll be able to find that online. All right, so let's just step back out here. So some other tips about the Hexatarp Pro. So we set it up particularly to get out of sun, but more importantly to get out of rain, because when you get that light drizzly rain, you want to be able to get out of that. And these tarps are much easier to set up than your traditional tarp that we've used for years and years. You've just got the two main poles, and they have guide ropes that run off that. So really quick and easy to set up. Now, one of the tips that I'd suggest is that if you know which way the weather's coming from, which way the rain usually comes from for the type of camp that you've got, you set this side of the tarp up, or one of the long sides of the tarp up, towards that rain. And what you can do is you can actually drop the three corners of the tarp, you can actually drop them right down to the ground and tie them down almost straight, so it actually acts like a barrier to the wind and the rain that's coming that way. Or if you just want a bit more breeze, etc., I went ahead and got some of the Oztent short poles, so the shortest poles that Oztent sell. I was able to get onto some of them, and I got 6 of them, and I run them around the perimeter of the tent just with a guide rope to lift it up a little bit and give you a bit more air underneath. If you're enjoying the content we're producing on the I Love Dirt channel, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the like button to let other people know what we're doing. Now, in terms of actually setting up these Hexatarps, the easiest way to get started is you just lay the tarp down on the ground, fold it in half just along the length of it, and the 2 pieces of metal that go into the top of the posts, you can just have them sitting on the ground, and that'll show you where your post is going to go on the ground. And from there, I'm just going to pace this out, but once you've got the tarp down on the ground, you can just pace out 1 big step, 2 big steps, and that gives you a middle point, and then you go 2 steps that way, 2 steps that way, and that's where you put those 2 pegs in that hold the guide ropes for your Hexatarp. Now the cool thing is that same peg can actually take the rope that comes from your end posts here as well. So a single peg in the ground takes both your guy ropes for your main pole and the guy ropes for these outer edges of your tarp. And then after that, you only need pegs in the middle. We'll swing around here. You've got the center pole here. It needs a peg as well, so you'll run a peg out for that. And that gets your tarp up. Now I'm going to show you a tip just on the other side of the tarp as well. So we're just going to go for a walk across to the other side. Now another tip for setting this up, if this is the side where the rain's coming in from, you'll see I've actually got a second rope here. And the reason I do that is I want to be able to pull this side right down low to stop the rain and the wind coming in from that side. And your traditional rope that sort of runs out to a bit of distance, that can actually pop off really easily. So I actually put a second peg down in the ground at a tight angle. So I've actually got two pegs here. So one rope is for pulling the pole down really low. If I don't need it low, I just take that rope off, and then I can run this post up much higher like that. So just a simple thing, rather than pulling pegs out, etc., just have two pegs on the ground. Okay, one last thing to talk through. I'm actually going to come across to a couple of the bags that I have for putting the tarp away. So a couple of the bags that I use, so Drifter do these boot liner pole bags. So the short poles that I use around the outside, the little Oz tent ones that I got hold of, I just grab one of their boot liner pole bags and I keep the poles in that, so that's a good way to keep those poles nice and neat and tidy. Snow Peak provides really nice bags for their gear anyway, so that's the bag for the tarp, that's the bag for the inner lining. But I always keep a hammer and peg set with the tarp, so I don't have to go looking for where are the pegs for this particular tarp. So I grabbed one of the Drifter boot liner peg bags, and it's actually big enough for the Snow Peak hammer and the medium sized pegs that I use with the tarp. So just keeps it all together. The tarp, the inner tarp, the end poles all fit into that bag, no drama. And then the extra Oz tent poles that I have then pop into that separate bag. Anyway, exciting addition for us. As I say, it rains a lot when we camp. We really wanted to be able to keep using the fire, particularly when you're cooking. So the inner lining for the Hexatarp Pro has been a fantastic addition for us, and I thought I'd share that with you all. Cheers, see you out there.